There was tangible excitement among Manchester United fans on Friday, February 17, a date which has the potential to be significant. That's because the Glazers set February 17 as the soft deadline for formal takeover proposals to be submitted. Following their announcement in November, they were exploring strategic alternatives for the club, which could include selling it. It has taken 18 years to get here. The Glazers became majority shareholders at Old Trafford in 2005 through a leveraged buyout, and supporters, who have regularly protested against their ownership, can finally see light at the end of the tunnel. Those who have protested, like the 10,000 who marched against the Glazers among waves of green and gold in August last year, have longed for their club to be sold, and it's now more likely than ever that the keys to Old Trafford will be handed over. The Glazers are willing to pack their bags for the right price, and they received two formal proposals, from Sheikh Jassim bin Hamad Al Thani and Sir Jim Ratcliffe, on February 17, which means it appears to be a two-horse race for the club. Sheikh Jassim is chairman of one of Qatar's biggest banks, and Ratcliffe is Britain's wealthiest man. Both have the necessary capital to invest, yes, but their proposals, outlined by their respective statements, are understood to be different. The Qatari-led bid promised to return the club to former glories by purchasing 100% of the club, whilst Ratcliffe, who represents the British bid, is understood to be interested in acquiring 69% of the shares. That would make him the majority shareholder, just as the Glazers are now, but regardless of the finer details surrounding the two respective proposals, the process is now underway and steps toward a possible sale have been initiated. But what actually happens next, and what does that mean? That is the question which supporters want to be answered. To begin with, it's understood the two bidders, Sheikh Jassim and Ratcliffe, will be given access to a data room where relevant financial information about the club will be made available, to reveal the value of assets and debts, etc. Sam Mabin, head of corporate at Brabner's LLP, has bought and sold football clubs throughout his career, and he recently confirmed to the Manchester Evening News that assessing relevant financial information will be the first step. One would assume that the sellers have put together a data room of high-level information which bidders will be able to access, in order to get a better feel for what it is they will inherit and to inform their initial bid, Mabin said. United fans are hopeful the process can be concluded quickly and that a new owner could be welcomed ahead of the summer transfer window, but Mabin, an experienced corporate lawyer, warned the Glazers will want to create tension. He added, the idea behind an auction process is to maintain competitive tension for as long as possible in order to achieve the best possible terms of sale. This extends not just to price, but also contractual terms such as post-deal exposure to warranty and indemnity claims. At some point, one of the potential purchasers is likely to be afforded preferred bidder status and potentially a period of exclusivity, to enable them to negotiate the contractual terms and do a deep dive in due diligence. Although the race for the keys to Old Trafford is currently a two-horse one, there can only be one winner, and the Glazers will give preference to either Sheikh Jassim or Ratcliffe, which is expected to be whoever offers the most favourable terms. Sheikh Jassim or Ratcliffe will then begin their due diligence on the club. Typically, due diligence, the process of asking questions about the company and its assets and liabilities, can be a very detailed and lengthy process, Mabin said. Perversely, there have been many examples of football clubs being acquired when the purchaser has taken a very light-touch approach to pre-completion inquiries. One would have thought the key area of focus will be an understanding of the debt position and ownership of real assets. Whilst the negotiations will initially focus on the sale of the Glazer family's Class B shares with super voting rights in the Cayman parent, an associated offer for the public's Class A shares may follow, resulting in a delisting of the securities from the New York Stock Exchange. A further key part of the transaction process will be the club satisfying the football regulatory requirements, which will involve a degree of scrutiny over the proposed ownership structure, financial position and source of funds of any prospective purchaser. Although the source of funds for both prospective purchasers is not expected to be a problem, the Qatari-led bid from Sheikh Jassim has the potential to be deemed problematic by UEFA regulations and the Premier League. UEFA regulations currently outline that two clubs controlled by the same entity would not be allowed to play in the same competition, and Paris Saint-Germain are owned by Qatar Sports Investments (QSI), the sovereign wealth fund of the nation. Sheikh Jassim is the face of his bid, and his statement confirming his proposal said the investment would come from the 9-2 Foundation, but he's the son of a former prime minister and a member of the royal family in Qatar. It's no coincidence he's the face of the bid, as it's an attempt to convince UEFA there's enough separation between PSG's ownership to allow both clubs to compete in the Champions League, but it's possible that could be rejected. That could also be considered when the Glazers give preferred bidder status and potentially a period of exclusivity, although it certainly does seem like supporters will need to exercise patience in the coming months. They'll be hoping it's worth it and that February 17 was indeed a significant date in the club's history.